And staying on this issue, after yet another violent weekend, a federal judge has expanded her order barring the Trump administration from sending in the Guard to Portland, Oregon. And the White House is now pushing back.
With all due respect to that judge, I think her opinion is untethered in reality and in the law. The president is using his authority as Commander-in-Chief, U.S. Code 12406, which clearly states that the president has the right to call up the National Guard in cases where he deems it's appropriate. So we are appealing that decision. As you know, we expect a hearing on it pretty quickly, and we're very confident in the president's legal authority to do this.
Constitutional law attorney and former federal prosecutor Katie Cherkasky joins me now. Katie, good morning. It's great to see you. Here's Camilla Wamsley. She's Portland's ICE director on what they are facing on a day-to-day basis. Watch this.
There's something been going on every night since June. We've had bottle rockets launched at our folks in the building. We've had rocks thrown through the building. We've had all our windows broken out on the first floor. We have had lasers pointed at our officers' eyes. We have, it's a whole gamut of things.
So President Trump wants the National Guard there to put an end to all of this. Does he have the legal authority to do so?
I think he absolutely does, and I think that this judge's opinion is very vulnerable on appeal. When the president essentially nationalizes the Guard, that decision is reviewable by the courts under that particular statute, but the courts have to give extremely high deference to the president, meaning that if there's any colorable explanation, and of course we just heard from the ICE director there, then the courts cannot overturn that. And that has been established by the Ninth Circuit, where this court will go. So certainly I think that this opinion is going to be overturned.
And when you say it was established by the Ninth Circuit, are you talking about that California ruling that just happened a couple months ago, where National Guard troops were allowed to stay in California to protect the federal buildings?
That's exactly right. There was a case, it's called Newsom 2, that the Ninth Circuit discussed this very same issue. And the judge in the Portland case tries to distinguish the facts there by saying that there's not ongoing or very recent attacks, but that doesn't seem consistent with the factual record at all. So I think that for sure the administration will prevail here.
So the president also said yesterday, you just heard it, that he would invoke the Insurrection Act if necessary. What does that mean?
Well, the Insurrection Act is another basis for the president to call up the troops, not just National Guard troops. They could actually use any military troops. And then if that were to be invoked, and I think President Trump was very reasonable by saying that it would be more significant to do that. But if he were to make that decision would be even less reviewable, because the courts have said that that decision is essentially solely within the discretion of the president to use the Insurrection Act if he determines that that is necessary.
Yeah, and right now National Guard troops in Chicago and Portland, they're being mobilized under what's called Title 10, which is a narrow ruling that allows them to protect federal property, but they can't make arrests or do any sort of other law enforcement activity. We're getting a very different characterization of what federal troops would look like from some of these liberal lawmakers like J.D. Pritzker.
Well, the fear-mongering and really the minimization and denial of the actual facts of the situation on the ground is really troubling, and it's kind of stunning. And I think President Trump and the administration is exposing the absurdity of these positions. They should really be thanking them for assisting with this instead of suing him in court. So, yeah, absolutely. The president has essentially a broad discretion under both of those statutes, but really even under this particular Title 10 statute that he's using, he has the right to do so, especially when there is a basis in the facts there.
Over 100 days of protesting in Portland, and at one point they rolled out a guillotine, which says it all. Katie, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your insight.